So recently I came across this saying that went, go where you're treated best. This of course refers to instead of staying in your current location where you've been likely staying in for many years, you try going to somewhere else where perhaps things are better. Let's start with most of us, we grew up grounded in one place, in one city. Most of us didn't move around a whole lot during our upbringing. We didn't move from city to city, country to country, or continent to continent. We were brought up with the values of one culture, one language, surrounded by a certain group of people. Of course, there are some places that are multicultural, but that's still a multicultural culture, so to say. Which is why most of us, when we talk about where we come from, we talk about our hometown. That's where we grew up, where we spent many years, where we spent our childhood, adolescence, and youth. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. It's completely normal. It helps us form our basis of an identity. The problem comes when a person is unwilling to make any changes, saying that where they grew up, where they were brought up, that is all they know, and they're unwilling to change anything. Of course, how can you know if you can find something better or not unless you actually go out and try? Many people, we finish our formal education during young adulthood, normally early 20s. That's when we finish university for those that are privileged to go to university, or secondary school for those that don't go to university, or even less. But most of us, we finish our formal education during our early adulthood. And many people, they think once that formal education has been finished, there is nothing more to it. They have learned all they need to know. There's nothing more to learn, nothing more worthwhile to learn. And where they were brought up, that is, again, all they know. This is it's a scarcity mentality. Yes, the world is large. We grew up in a very small subsection of it. And to say that nothing else matters seems like it's going to be a life full of regret if you don't actually go out and see what's out there. And that's the thing, you need to go out and see what's out there in order to see if there is anything more worthwhile to know about what you did not grow up with. A person that is unwilling to go out and actually see what's out there, that is unwilling to contemplate the what if, is going to have a very limited mindset. It's going to be crippled by what ifs. And this what if, the big what if, is what if there's something better? The only way you can be sure of if there's anything better out there is actually going out and seeing if there's anything out there. Sure, you can read blog posts, read articles, video testimonials, talk to people around you, listen to podcasts, etc., etc. The only way to be certain about whether you can, if there's anything better out there, whether you can, again, go where you're treated best. The only way to find out is to actually have boots on the ground. I'd like to bring up 3 P's. These 3 P's are people, property, and politics. These 3 things, you can't be sure of them unless you actually go in and try and see for yourself. Get up close to whatever it is that you're going after and see if it's actually better than what you grew up with. So me personally, I've done this quite a few times, not just between countries, but continents. I found that when you are actually going out and seeing if something is better, sometimes you stick out like a sore thumb. I know, for instance, that when I was in Latin America and right now in Africa, Tanzania, I get a lot of catcalls when I'm walking around, get heckled by people, and I get stared at a lot, which to me personally, it doesn't really bother me that much. I've learned how to handle it. I've been thinking long term, decades down the road. I'm thinking of the time in the future when I have children. And I'm holding the hand of my child, and in Latin America, people call Chino, or here in Tanzania, in Africa, it was cry out, China. I don't want my child to look up at me and ask, why are they saying this? Nor do I would find it very difficult to explain if we were out and about in the city why we were refused service in a business because of the way we looked, or why we were perceived as being invaders or outsiders. Something that I can't handle without too much issue. It's not a good long-term prospect, though. When you are often it feels as though you're not welcome. Of course, most people are kind, but there's always that subsection that is the unsavory part. I think many people want to avoid. It makes an environment less than welcoming, just that very small subsection. Besides the point. So what I suppose I'm trying to say is, going back to going where you're treated best. Before you can actually go where you're treated best, you need to find where you're treated best first. And as for me, I'm still looking.